This video is all about how to send professional academic emails so that you can make a great first impression. The Southern African Archaeology Student Society sent me a list of their everyday student questions, and in these bite-sized videos, I answer them. My name is Dr. Jayne Wilkins. I'm a senior lecturer at Griffith University, and my research focus is on the archaeology of Homo sapiens origins. And I am passionate about helping early career researchers achieve their big academic goals. When you're communicating with professors and senior academics, your supervisors, your teachers, your mentors, it's important to communicate clearly with them and with the kind of traditions that characterize academia. And it matters because it's how you make a good first impression, really. So that's why it's important to use the kind of traditional conventions when it comes to email, especially if you're reaching out to professors and supervisors and potential collaborators for the first time. Sending an email is not the same as sending a DM or a text message or, some other kind of messenger format. Sending an email is more like sending an old-fashioned letter, okay? And old-fashioned letters have this basic format. First, there is an opening, then there is a body, then there is a closing, and then there is a signature. And so I'm going to go through each of these sections in order. The opening is simply "Dear," and then the name of the person you are addressing. When you're reaching out to someone for the first time, use "dear." If you want to be formal, use "dear." If you know this person well, and you don't feel like you need to be as formal anymore, then you can use other greetings like "hi" or "hello." When you're reaching out to a professor or a senior academic or any academic really for the first time, you want to use their title. So you need to probably Google them and find out what the correct title is, right? Whether to address them as professor or doctor. If you can't figure out whether they are a full professor that you need to address as professor or not, then just err on the side of professor. No one's going to be offended if you call them a professor and they're not. But someone might be a little bit offended if you don't address them as professor and they are a full professor. The body of your email is where you put the information you need to put and you ask the question that you need to ask. You need to write this out in complete sentences. It should be polite and respectful. And you want to focus on one main point or one main question. You don't want to overload the person you're emailing with tons of information and questions in one email. It should just be about one main thing. And if your text is getting long and it's got different ideas in it, then you need to break it up into different paragraphs, just like you would any other kind of written document. If you're emailing a person who doesn't know you and you don't know them, or it's a teacher for a course that you're taking, so there's a lot of people in the class, they might not know who you are right away, then you want to introduce yourself as the first sentence in the body. So for example, you might start the body part of your email with a sentence like this: "My name is Tandy Dlamini, and I am an honor student in the Department of Awesome Science at the University of Amazing." Something like that. The context they need to understand why you are emailing them. The next section of an email is the closing, which is literally one or two words like "sincerely" or "kind regards" or "warm wishes" or "best." Um, there's a lot of different closings that you can use. You want to keep it simple and professional, and if there's any doubt on what to use, then just use "sincerely." It's the tried and true classic closing. And then the signature is just your name. Okay, and if you're emailing someone that you don't know very well, put both your first and your last name. And then you might also add in your affiliation, your role, and your contact details underneath that. So your email app will have an option to add, like automatically add a signature to the end of your emails. This will be one of the settings that you have, add signature. And you can get kind of creative here with like different fonts and animations and pictures and links and all kinds of things. And my advice would be to keep it on the simple side, right? It's just about communicating information here for the people you are emailing. So this is the signature that I have at the bottom of all my emails. So I would write out, my opening, my body, my closing, like sincerely Jayne Wilkins. And then this is going to appear underneath that automatically at the bottom of all my emails. And it's just simple and short, and it's just the necessary information. What email account should you use? People will give you the advice that you should always use your student email or your staff email for professional academic emails. And there's no harm in that. It's also okay to use other emails. I use my Gmail account, that's my preference. But it's just a simple, account with my name, right? So you don't wanna be sending professional emails from, a Yahoo account that's like your nickname, or it's like some kind of funny pun, right? If it's just your name at yahoo.com, then it's totally fine to send emails from there. Okay, so after craft this lovely email and you send it off, what do you do if you don't get a response? Well, first know that most supervisors, professors, academics, they'll take a long time to get back to you. So don't expect a fast response. Remember, you're dealing with professionals who potentially are working in different time zones than you. They may have travel, they may have field work, they may have conferences, they may be doing a lot of teaching and grading at the moment. They may be on sabbatical, they might be on leave. Like there's a whole bunch of reasons why someone might take a really long time to get back to you. And so you just kind of need to wait. If you have waited a long time, like appropriate to the kind of urgency that you're about the thing you're emailing about. So, potentially you wait a few weeks, or you wait a month, or you wait 6 weeks if it's a non urgent issue. If you wait that long and you haven't heard back, it is appropriate to send a follow up email, right? Because things do happen. The emails get lost all the time. So it's actually helpful in some situations. So this is what a follow-up email would look like. Dear Professor Nkosi, I am writing to follow up on an email that I sent a few weeks ago because I haven't seen a reply in my inbox. My name is Tandy Lamini and I'm an honor student. Then you can just like paste in the old email, paste it in there again so that the person doesn't need to go scrolling down to find out what you wrote before, and sign off like you would have in the first email. This can be helpful if, that it did just get lost, the email. It's appropriate to do this once. If it's a very important thing, maybe you do it twice, but don't do it more than that. If you don't get a reply after 2 follow-ups after a long amount of time, then you probably need to find out another way to connect with them if it's important. Here is a summary of the do's and don'ts. Okay, so do be really clear in your email, be polite and respectful, be brief, follow that traditional old fashioned letter format with the opening and closing and signature, and use a professional looking email address. Okay, the don'ts are don't be too casual, don't overload with too much information or too many questions. Um, don't use the email like you would Messenger or texting or sending DMs, right? It's not casual like that. And don't use a funny email address, so, with like funny words or a nickname in it. Those are my top tips about sending academic emails. And if you want more academic advice and tips, you can visit butfirstpublish.com.